Everybody, welcome to another YouTube video. And today we are going to be reacting to Rachel Zegler. I think it's Zegler. And this is my lovely wife. And we're going to be doing a reaction on her and all scenarios surrounding Snow White. Let's see what Gal Gadot's got to say.
That my name is Gal, and I'm Jewish. And we have had enough of Jew hatred.
Gal Gadot has decided that she has had enough, and Rachel Zegler's Dirty Laundry is finally out for the world to see. The live-action Snow White is out, but nobody's talking about the storybook magic or the evil queen's cheekbones. What everyone is really talking about is the drama behind the scenes, and oh boy, it's giving full soap opera energy. Gal Gadot was having some intense issues with her co-star, but you can never guess what actually kicked it all off. Believe it or not, it was a single Instagram post. On March 21st, 2025, Rachel dropped a heartfelt tribute post on her Instagram to celebrate the release of Snow White. It was emotional, reflective, and full of behind-the-scenes hugs, smiles, and thank yous to all the lovely humans she worked with. She even called the film life-changing and said she grew so much over those 4 long years on set. That's enough time to go from fresh-faced newcomer to red carpet regular. But as people were glad to be included in her sweet nostalgia, fans started noticing one very obvious thing missing. Where on earth was Gal Gadot?
Very grateful. We're great. We're exhausted.
Yeah, you are.
It's messy.
What are the
and
age
loud.
ranges?
She was not tagged or named, and Rachel didn't even have a throwback selfie with her. For someone who played the film's iconic evil queen and literally shared top billing, Gal was nowhere in sight. Suddenly, fans weren't talking about costumes or cinematography. They were dissecting this social media snub. Was it shade? Was it silence? Or was it something deeper? Now,
I don't think they're being fair here.
why?
If you go into the history with her reactions regarding Snow White, she was like, she's not going to play the typical Snow White. She's not going to play this character that is going to be rescued, damsel in distress. She's going to be this women empowerment and all of that sort of things. And people were very contra because Snow White is a character that plays kind of the damsel in distress. And she just denied wanting to do that part. I think people didn't go, oh, we're so happy and it's so good with your posting. I think most people just went, we don't really believe the whole post, and that's why they're looking into it. I think that's the truth from my point of view, because she kind of burned a lot of bridges in the project of Snow White. So I don't think people were like, I don't think so. What do you think?
I have no idea. I'm not up to date with any of the drama or what's going on. So this is literally the first video I'm actually seeing about what's going on. So I have no knowledge of any backstory or Instagram or social media posting that has been going on.
Okay. Well, then we have a fresh perspective and a guide perspective, I guess, if you can call it that.
Now, if you thought this was just a forgotten tag, buckle up because the rabbit hole gets a lot messier. Theories started pouring in, and they weren't exactly subtle. At the top of the list was politics. Turns out Rachel and Gal are not even close to being on the same page when it comes to the Israel-Palestine conflict. Gal, being Israeli, has long supported Israel publicly. Meanwhile, Rachel has voiced her.
That makes sense.
I mean,
And I know she kind of like made a few statements, Rachel, about the whole Palestine-Israel situation. We're probably going to see it now.
probably. But,
Probably.
I mean, not to get into politics, but I understand where Gal comes from because it is her home country. So
Yeah.
she is defending it just as we would expect each and everyone to defend their home country. Like we as South Africans will be proudly South Africans most of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah.
So she is literally just defending her people. Each person has their own opinion on the whole situation regarding Israeli and the Palestinians. But I think that's something for another video. Let's not get into politics. I mean, each have their own opinion and feeling regarding the situation. So
support for Palestine, and she didn't whisper it either.
Zegler also faced blowback after posting Free Palestine,
Gadot is from Israel and served in the Israeli army.
Her Free Palestine tweet during filming apparently caused a storm, and it wasn't the kind that just quietly passed by.
We would see people not condemning Hamas, but celebrating, justifying, and cheering on a massacre of Jews.
Rumors swirled that things got tense on set, and that whole "we're just here to work" vibe might have been more about survival than solidarity. But politics isn't the only thing drawing a line between these two. Let's talk about their lives off camera. Gal is 39, a mother of 4, and has been married since 2008. She's all about that family-first energy, glowing in her red carpet gowns.
13, almost 8, 3.5, and 1. Just turned 1.
That's a lot.
So we experience every...
That's a gap. 13, 8, 3.5, and 1. I don't know when this was shot, by the way. But
Well, it's 4 years between the first two and
Yeah.
like 2 years between the second two. Oh, yeah. That's not bad. The gap is between number 2 and number 3,
yeah, that's a gap.
which is 5 years. It's also not actually that bad. Compared to it's 4, yeah, then 5,
Fair enough. It's not that
and then
bad, but
2.
still
mean-
impressive, though.
Hats off to her.
Yeah, having an acting career, because in that time period, she was full-time acting.
hormone possible.
Rachel, on the other hand, is 23, newly stepping into superstardom, still figuring out how to balance award shows with apartment hunting.
Like when you leave the scene, I like turned to the camera and I was like, "Gal's mad." Like, it was so, but then you were FaceTiming your kids right after, being like, "Hey, he's so mad." It's so good.
These women are literally living in 2 different universes, and sometimes that gap can feel like a canyon. You're not going to find them swapping skincare tips in a trailer, at least not without a layer of polite awkwardness hanging in the air. But here's where it gets even juicier. Despite all the buzz and whispers, both actresses showed up together for the film's big Los Angeles premiere on March 15th, 2025. And yes, they posed side by side for the cameras, but the fans saw, i.e., everything. The smiles were tight, the body language was stiff, and the sparkle in their eyes was definitely not from excitement. It was like watching 2 coworkers at an office party pretending to be besties for HR. Sure, they were professional, but not very warm towards each other. And just like that, every red carpet photo became a clue in the ongoing mystery of, did Rachel and Gal actually hate working together? Then something shifted. Rachel tried to change the conversation. In interviews, she started talking about how women in Hollywood are always pitted against each other and how important it is to support fellow actresses. Those are some powerful words and a needed message, but she never actually mentioned Gal. So naturally, fans started decoding her statement like it was a riddle. Was she throwing shade while pretending not to? Or was she trying to say, move on, there's nothing to see here? While low-key confirming that there was definitely something to see here,
what would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
now let's talk about how all of this really affected Disney. And here's a hint. Things are not going well for those guys. You'd think they'd be basking in the glow of another billion-dollar box office smash. But nope, they were stuck in damage control mode. With all this drama-stealing headlines, the studio reportedly scaled down the premiere. There was
Yeah, but doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but to the point what they're trying to go to, I'm like in between with this one. Why? She makes a comment, which is very good, but I also don't really understand why she would make the comment per se, because a lot of female actresses in Hollywood are supporting each other. From my point of view, I haven't really. Well, there's obviously going to be some that don't like some, and that's natural. Even in the male sector of Hollywood, there's going to be like one actor that's not a fan of another. But I don't really see it as being abnormal. I've never seen them pit each other against each other the whole time. So yeah, but I don't really see it being connected, in my opinion. I don't really see the strings.
I just think this is unnecessary drama, whether it be true or false, whether it is legit, there's drama between the co-stars, or whether somebody just interpreted something incorrectly and went to social media, and I mean, a little spark can hold a whole flame. I don't know. It's just so much unnecessary drama.
And it feels like most of the opinions are pitted against or towards Rachel and not towards Gal. Maybe it's because Gal's not that active on social media, but I mean, every time they say like, until the fans notice that Rachel posted this on this. So it's like, it feels like they're trying to draw drama in a situation that technically is not even necessary. My opinion.
But I do feel like two people can interpret the same thing differently. So one might see, oh, cool, great, women empowerment, while the other might see this whole situation of, oh, if she doesn't mention it, is that like a hate against her co-star or what? So it's literally just in the hands of the person seeing it, what their personality is or how they perceive information. So it can go either way. I don't know. It's like wasteful to me.
True.
No massive press junket and no glittering red carpet extravaganza, just a subtle rollout, almost like they were hoping nobody would ask too many questions. Except everyone did. Add Rachel Gal tension into the mix, and suddenly Disney had a PR crisis bigger than anything they were prepared to handle. But wait, it doesn't end there. Because on top of everything else, Disney has also been handling major backlash about their casting choices.
She's talented, she's attractive, she's got skill. But there are a lot of actresses in Hollywood who bring all that to the table and are not going to absolutely sabotage your work.
In June 2021, Disney revealed that Rachel Zegler will be our new Snow White. And at first, it sounded great. She's young, wildly talented. Her voice is practically born for musicals. Director Mark Webb couldn't stop gushing, calling her vocal abilities just the beginning of her gifts. He said she brought strength, intelligence, optimism, basically everything you'd want from a modern-day princess. But while the casting team may have been enchanted, not everyone was cheering.
Every young person dreams about a phone call like that. I've been lucky to have a few of those in my life, but this one is certainly extra special as a huge Disney fan.
Because here's the thing, Snow White, as the name not so subtly implies, has always been described as having skin as white as snow. It's literally the first thing people point to when talking about the character. So when Rachel, who is of Colombian and Polish descent, landed the role, it raised a lot of eyebrows. Comment sections exploded, and everyone from film critics to political commentators had something to say.
The reason Snow White is called Snow White in this version of the film, because of course she is not white as snow, is because she and her family go through a snowstorm and survived a snowstorm, and so it's a mark of her resilience. That's why she's called Snow White.
Some people were thrilled about there finally being a Latina Disney princess, but others, especially on the conservative side, were not having it. Then, Ben Shapiro jumped in, all guns blazing, insisting that casting a Latina actress as Snow White was straying too far from the story's original identity. Now, while all this was happening, Rachel didn't hide. She spoke up.
I can appreciate that a different interpretation. I mean, it's a classic story for a reason, but it's also good to see different possibilities and not be, or to be more inclusive of different races and skin tones and everything. So I mean, it's kind of cool though to see a different interpretation and how to change the backgrounds a bit of a traditional story or a classic story to include others as well and not be too stereotypical, I can almost say. So I do appreciate the open-mindedness, especially in modern times. So it's a different perspective.
Yeah. And I mean, this is also a little bit, again, unnecessary. I mean, I kind of get the whole concept that if you're going to say a person is called Snow White and he is not white, then it's a name, technically speaking. So it shouldn't always just be an attribution to a race. And then again, there's always been this thing in Hollywood where people are like saying, for instance, I think the movie was just trying to remember the movie name now. But so the person that played in the movie played basically a super soldier, a female super soldier, and she was more of the Chinese descent to the original author of the stories. But at the end of the day, she was a white person playing this character, and people were like, well, should have been a Chinese character that played it, but it's so unnecessary. When a good actor is given an opportunity to play a role, which for me, she played the role fantastic, it shouldn't be a concept of what race you are. It should be based on talents. Again, it's going back to the question: do we hire people for their capabilities, or do we hire them because they're black, white, pink, purple, red, green, whatever? Because I mean, we're not hiring aliens to play aliens in movies. We're getting CGI to do. Are we going to now complain about that? No, because it's a ridiculous complaint. I don't think it's necessary. Stick to the talent. No offense, stick to the talent.
And she didn't just defend her casting, she celebrated it. She said she was proud, honored, and even a little stunned that this opportunity came her way. Because when was the last time you saw a Latina actress cast as a character who's historically been portrayed as the palest person in the room?
It's the most emotional experience that a person can go through to know that what they're working on is something that has reached a generation of people.
The representation hit hard for a lot of people who'd never seen themselves in a Disney fairy tale before. But Rachel didn't stop there. She pushed the conversation forward, reminding everyone that talent, not skin tone, should be the focus. She talked about how Snow White is beloved in Spanish-speaking countries, and how this role was an opportunity not just for her, but for a whole generation of kids who could finally see someone who looked like them in a princess gown. That's powerful stuff. And if you thought the debate stopped there, oh no, it was just getting warmed up. Because behind all the applause and outrage was a deeper, more tangled question. What do we do with these classic fairy tales in today's world? Are they untouchable, or can they grow with us? Disney clearly chose the latter. They didn't just cast Rachel, they rewrote the story too. In this version, Snow White isn't named after her complexion.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
She's named after surviving a literal snowstorm as a baby. A near-death experience instead of a beauty trait? Now that's a twist. Rachel explained that this version of Snow White is all about resilience. The focus isn't on being the fairest of them all anymore. It's about strength, survival, and realizing your worth. One of her quotes pretty much sums it up. One of the core points in our film for any young woman or young person is remembering how strong you actually are. And just like that, a tale that's been told since the 1800s got a 21st century makeover. But not everyone bought into this evolution. Critics said the changes stripped the story of its roots. They felt that the symbolism was important and that Disney was bending too far to be woke. Some people saw the casting as a beacon of progress. Others saw it as unnecessary tampering. And in the middle of it all was Rachel, simply trying to do her job and smile through the firestorm. Meanwhile, film historians and insiders started chiming in with more big-picture takes. Leonard Maltin, for one, made a solid point. He said stories have always evolved with society. As our world changes, so do our fairy tales. And if diversity helps more people see themselves in those stories, what's the harm in that? Still, this whole situation didn't just expose Hollywood's growing pains. It exposed everyone's tensions. There's a cultural tug-of-war happening right now between honoring tradition and pushing for representation. And Disney, by putting Rachel Zegler in that iconic dress, was clearly choosing a side. But here's the thing. This casting decision might have triggered critics, but it also gave Disney a massive platform to rethink how stories are told. Think about it. How many times have we seen the same pale-faced princess stories over and over? This was a chance to flip the script, and whether you loved it or hated it, it got people talking.
So I just want to butt in here. I'm wondering, why is people so focused or obsessed with the fact they rewrote the story or the background of Snow White? Okay, I'm guessing I haven't watched the movie yet, so I'm guessing the story obviously changed, which is what I'm assuming based on what I've just heard is the prince isn't saving her.
Yeah, which is kind of strange.
I mean, how many versions of Cinderella are there?
Oh yeah, a lot.
There's multiple versions of Cinderella or redones and stuff out there. So I don't see why this is such a big deal in a sense for me. I mean, like I said, there's so many other Disney classics that has been rewritten. We have a new version of Little Mermaid. We have Snow White. We have Cinderella. I mean, you have different takes. You have another Cinderella story. You have this version and that version, and
Yeah, you can go Tangled to Rapunzel. The original Rapunzel to Tangled. Two different stories.
Yeah, but
same background.
Yeah, because it's the same characteristics of the character. Physically, like the long hair, living in a tower, stepmom. Can I call that a stepmom?
Which?
Unwanted adoptive mom.
A witch.
Oh, okay.
A witchy mom.
A kidnapper. She has a kidnapper.
A mother that knows best.
So yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get it. If it's not your cup of tea, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just don't watch it again. If it's your cup of tea, play the thing on replay and show it to your kids until the songs are stuck in your head.
I mean, there is a sense like I'll be willing to play a little bit the devil's advocate with the situation like this, and I would say there's two sides to this. Yes, there's the original story that you kind of want to represent again, and because this is technically a live action remake, which is what they originally said, I kind of get that it's not the truth. If you say live action remake like what they did with Little Mermaid, then you need to be fair and say, okay, live action, you take the story and you recreate it. Be fair. But maybe just Disney needs to think about when they approach something. They say, we're bringing out a new Snow White in the modern era that is a live action. It just changes the perception that people would take it in, instead of now thinking, oh, the original Snow White's going to be having a new story. No, they're going to go, oh, Snow White, maybe a new story.
2.0.
Exactly, maybe
a different version of
instead of, it's the same concept like sometimes when movie creators take us one story and they go back in time and have, let's say they have 1 and 2 got launched and then they created 3, but 3 is before 1. Instead of calling it 3, call it something that relates to number 1's beginning, almost
like it's called the original.
Yeah, give it a name with a description and not a number like you would normally do. And this is a common issue in Hollywood, in my opinion. Even video games, me being a gamer, I can talk about it. There's so many games where they have made that mistake of, if you want good examples, Red Dead Redemption 2, starting with Arthur Curry and then going on to his son is in the second one. It makes sense. They're following in each other.
Chronological.
Yeah, and when you look at games like Grand Theft Auto, let's go back to Rockstar. There's great examples of this. You have GTA 1, GTA 2, and then you had GTA 3, which was in Vice City. Then you had Liberty City Stories, and then you had Vice City Stories, and they all lived in the same era. And then they said, we're in now the new era, where we're going to entering into GTA 4, which was in Nico Bellic, and GTA 5, which is now shifting. You know, we're changing the form. And I think in the movie sense, Disney needs to think the same way. Announce the movie as a newer movie. Call it Snow White, but don't reference Snow White. Don't say that we are actually remaking it.
Or rather say, for example, I'm just going to jump back to Cinderella. So another Cinderella story, or Cinderella something else. I think they could have maybe said, instead of just Snow White with a subtitle.
Oh
basically.
yeah. They could have rather called the movie, a good example. They could have called it Snow White Surviving the Storm.
But then again, you have Snow White and the Huntsman. You know, that kind of thing. It's like
fantastic movie.
hating with like a subheading.
Yeah.
That could have maybe been like a way out.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have a massive impact on their current PR situation, as the drama between the co-stars, and I mean that you couldn't predict
and
or change by name, by the name of the movie. I mean, but I mean that would have I think taken care of this comment,
last
comment. Because I think automatically people would be in the mindset of, oh, let's not compare to the original story that is like 100 and whatever years old even. I don't even know how old the original thing was. But this is like Snow White, the new era, or something like that. Because it still plays in the time frame of not medieval, but like, if you look at the fashion, that fictional era, I would say. But it's more relatable, maybe. Again, I haven't watched it yet, but it could be probably more relatable to our current era and our current generations watching the movie compared to when the original Snow White was done, where women didn't have much of a voice as they do right now.
True.
So I would have just hyphenated the name almost,
I think
kind of situation.
Out of respect, this was more a marketing mistake than it is from Disney's side. I think it was a marketing mistake. I think from the co-star side is I mean, opinions are opinions. Keep them out of the workplace. This is something
Keep it professional.
Keep it professional. And I think from what I've seen so far, Gal has been, for me, the one not bringing it out against anyone, but we all feel like she's talking about her, and there's tensions when they I mean, I have coworkers that I sometimes don't like because they make me mad. Anyone has coworkers which they don't like and they make them mad, but it doesn't mean that you forget to do your job. And this is something that Hollywood needs to like. Some of the actors need to realize you're doing a job, grow up, do it right. Don't talk about it too much. If you're going social, go social, private. So that's my opinion.
Well, social isn't private. That's.
I mean, don't bring other people into it. That's what.
But just on that, I just want to comment to say, remember, there is a big age gap between them. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, they are in different stages of their lives. So there are different levels of maturity. As one person matures at a different pace than the person next to them based on their experiences and how they grew up. There's so many factors that impact a person's maturity level at a certain point in time. But obviously, with a big age difference like that and the different stages they are in their life, you have to take that into consideration, that Rachel is still young. She might still be naive. She might not necessarily know how to act fully in a professional manner, or whatever the reason may be. I'm just saying that there might be multiple reasons as to why people react in a certain way.
For sure.
As well as you said that from your point of view, that girl isn't having any of it. She's not contributing to the drama and stuff publicly.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, who is making the videos? Is it a girl fan or a Rachel fan?
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, if you think back about the drama, there was stuff between Taylor Swift and it wasn't Kanye, I think, back in the time as well, where the Swifties when defending her, and then obviously I'm pretty sure Kanye also defending his fans defending him. Same with Selena and Hailey. You get your Selena fans that is defending her, and you get the Hailey fans that defending her. Absolutely. So it's literally, you have to be open-minded about it. You can't just view it from one side, I would say. And I mean, social media isn't always true.
True.
I mean, you can make things up. It's fictional. So you don't really know the facts.
Yeah.
We don't really know the facts. We're not part of the situation. We're not in the middle of it. So you only base your opinion on the content that you see online.
Yeah.
And again, that might just be created by one side of the party and not the other. So
yeah. Like most of that video felt like it came from Rachel's perspective instead of
I would rather say like
it wasn't in the middle.
More like defend girls side, I would say. Not Rachel, but like, you know, Gadot's fans, I would rather say. But yeah, I'm just So my point is just basically like we don't know the situation, and yeah, drama is always entertaining. I mean, it sells.
Yeah, it's certainly entertaining.
It sells. So they are getting attention, and I know old saying it's any attention is good attention. Maybe not in this case. And not if it costs you, like I heard something though about they canceling the pre-store of 10 million.
Yeah.
So if it's true or not, I don't know. And that's just something I heard along the way.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's
yeah.
fun to see the drama.
For sure.
If it's true.
That's why we're watching this thing. Because we like drama. We're drama queens. We just don't know it.
Okay.
But anyway, guys, I think that's going to be the video for today. Thank you so much for joining in. If you like this type of content and obviously like to see my beautiful wife next to me, please comment down below and give your opinion on what you think. Whether you're leaning left, right, or you thinking that it's just a bunch of hoo-ha hoo-hee to build up marketing. Because, like she said, even bad marketing is marketing. Leave it down below. Give your opinion. And as always, have a great day.
Bye.